know there are a lot of rumors out there right now, and you would like to address them head on, so I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
I have to, yeah.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're examining the most shocking times famous faces saw their careers take a drastic nosedive after an interview. We'll explore what happened in the chat and the negative outcome on their jobs.
If the attackers are never found, how will you be able to heal?
Rachel Zegler.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937.
It's not often that the far right and Disney fans find common ground. Unfortunately for Zegler, when they did, it was to unite against her. After coming on the scene with 2021's West Side Story, Zegler was cast as the lead in 2025's Snow White. However, when talking about the role with Variety at the D23 Expo, Zegler drew the ire of some. Many look back fondly on Disney's first ever animated feature, regardless of some problematic themes in the modern era. Zegler heavily criticized the original film and also appeared to condemn the idea of women dreaming about love, instead choosing to promote female leadership. Zegler's words, mixed with other controversies, vastly damped excitement for the film.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Vanilla Ice. In 1990, he was everywhere after the success of Ice Ice Baby. But by the end of the decade, Ice's popularity had dwindled after a string of unsuccessful songs and an incident where he threatened someone experiencing homelessness. That year, Vanilla Ice was invited to the MTV show 25 Lame. After heavily critiquing his work, Ice was asked to retire the music video for Ice Ice Baby by destroying the master tape with a baseball bat. He took one swing at it before destroying the set. At one point, it looked like Ice was going to strike Jon Stewart. The media turned on the rapper, taking shots at him for his performance and calling him washed up. Ice experienced a brief stint of popularity afterward, but soon faded back into obscurity.
Can I sit over? I don't like the beanbag.
I think we're getting a feeling now of how important this was.
Shia LaBeouf.
Name's Mutt. Mutt Williams.
Mutt?
Yeah.
God, her name is...
It's the one I picked. You got a problem with it?
In 2008, he was set to garner great acclaim when he was cast in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. However, when the film was critically panned, LaBeouf was asked about the experience. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, he talked about his disappointment with the outcome and was upset about letting fans down. Years later, however, LaBeouf said he regretted his previous comments, as it caused a rift between him and Steven Spielberg. In 2016, in an interview with Variety, the actor changed track once more. He spoke about dreaming of working with Spielberg, but finding that, when the dream finally came to fruition, the experience was overall negative. The duo hasn't worked together since, and LaBeouf developed ill repute in the industry. Sean Connery.
Not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Seen by some as the best James Bond ever, Sean Connery has also been deemed incredibly problematic due to his comments about domestic violence towards women. After several interviews over the years where Connery admitted to being violent himself, in 1987, he sat down with Barbara Walters for ABC. She brought up his previous comments, and Connery stood by what he said. Later on, Connery would claim the interview was out of context. While he didn't see his career fall too much at the time, the incident returned to haunt him by the time he retired, and he had to cancel media appearances due to the backlash. Every so often, the Walters interview comes back into focus, and Connery's legacy becomes more tarnished.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good. I
think it's bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
Glenn Hoddle.
They are stating that I've come out and said that people disabled and handicapped are being punished for their sins.
Being an English football manager is a huge opportunity. In 1996, former midfielder Glenn Hoddle was given the prestigious role. Yet in 1999, he destroyed everything during an interview with The Times when he defended his relationship with faith healer Eileen Drury and his beliefs. Hoddle implied that disabled people are, quote, being punished for sins in a former life. He was widely condemned, with the public overwhelmingly calling for his firing, and a few days later, Hoddle was sacked as England manager. While he had several other managerial jobs and punditry work after, he never reached quite the same level of prestige again.
I've never said that.
Or that their disability might have something to do with something they did in their previous lives.
Well, I don't know about that.
John Rocker.
Asians and Koreans and Vietnamese and Indians and Russians and Spanish people and everything up there. How the hell do they get in this country?
In 1999, he was living the high life as a relief pitcher for the MLB team, the Atlanta Braves. However, an interview with Sports Illustrated soon showed the world Rocker's true colors. On top of picking on colleague Randall Simon, as well as New York City and their baseball franchises, Rocker also took aim at foreigners and the LGBTQIA+ community with insults and slurs. It was a mess and a PR nightmare for the Braves and the MLB as a whole. As such, the baseball authority suspended the pitcher for a month and fined him. He was traded in 2001 and spent the next few years bouncing around teams and making more controversial statements before retiring.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most hated man in New York City right now, I'm not speaking about myself, is definitely Atlanta Braves relief pitcher John Rocker.
Juliana Rancic.
I love Zendaya's style, and I love when she has the little hair. She just had it.
On top of co-anchoring E! News, Rancic was a major contributor to the show Fashion Police, which focused on celebrity fashion. Well, in 2015, Rancic took aim at Zendaya, who was 18 at the time. Rancic evaluated the actress's choice to wear dreadlocks to the Oscars, making some very heinous remarks we won't repeat here. They drew gasps from the crowd, and even Zendaya herself couldn't let Rancic go unchecked. She responded with a thoughtful and blistering critique, calling out the reporter for her ignorance and racism. Rancic apologized on social media, and in an interview with Access Hollywood, claimed her joke was taken out of context. The reporter was forced to step down from her E! News role before she returned briefly in 2018. Roy Keane.
I had to do the game 4-1. What do they want me to say? That the team played well?
As captain of English footballing juggernauts, Manchester United, and after leading them to many trophies, Keane seemingly had it all. But his hot-headedness led to his downfall. After his team lost a game, Keane was interviewed by the club's channel, MUTV. He was brutal, systematically tearing his teammates' performances apart. The criticism was so bad that MUTV was ordered to destroy all footage. This, alongside several other incidents, led to manager Alex Ferguson agreeing to terminate Keane's contract. Keane soon joined Scotland's Celtic, but only lasted 6 months before retiring. It was a startling fall from grace for one of United's greatest captains, one which left his relationship with Ferguson in shambles.
For one reason or another, he decided to go and criticise his teammates. And so most of you have not seen that video, but you couldn't release it.
Sarah Palin.
It's funny that a comment like that was kind of made to, reporters.
Mocked?
Yeah, mocked, I guess that's the word.
At one point, she was a rising star in the Republican Party. So much so that John McCain selected Palin as his vice presidential candidate in the 2008 election. However, when she met Katie Couric for CBS Evening News, it all came apart. In a series of interviews released over a couple of days, Palin looked worse and worse. She stumbled over her responses, uttered some that made little sense, and seemed ignorant. For example, when she was asked what newspapers or magazines she read, the VP hopeful stated, quote, "most of them." The baffling series drew further mockery when Saturday Night Live parodied the incident. With her poll numbers dropping, some Republicans called for Palin's resignation, but she stayed and the party lost the election.
What was the dynamic after?
Well, on a human level, I felt bad for her because she was clearly struggling.
Jimmy the Greek Snyder.
Maybe we need to get more black coaches, don't you?
Oh, it's all right with me. Okay, well, I'm sure that they'll take over that pretty soon, too.
Coming to fame as a bookmaker, Snyder joined the NFL Today in 1976 as a regular contributor who often alluded to betting. In 1988, he was interviewed by WRC-TV in celebration of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. However, it soon went off the rails when Snyder made some abhorrent, racist comments about African American athletes. People were outraged, to say the least, and CBS swiftly fired Snyder from the NFL Today. Subsequently, Snyder sued the broadcaster for wrongful dismissal, citing age discrimination, defamation, and breach of contract, but ultimately lost the case.
While we deplore the incident this weekend, we are saddened that our 12-year association with Jimmy had to end this way.
Joaquin Phoenix. Today, Joaquin Phoenix is a multi-time Oscar nominee and winner, but in 2009, his career was in a very different realm after appearing on The Late Show with David Letterman.
Is there something wrong?
I can't be the first one to make you feel weird about it.
No, I guess not.
Wearing sunglasses and a big bushy beard, Phoenix mumbled awkwardly through the discussion, causing the host to take verbal shots at him.
What can you tell us about your days with the Unabomber?
While this turned out to be a spoof for his mockumentary, I'm Still Here, the media genuinely believed Phoenix was having a breakdown, and producers stayed away from him.
But you're not going to act anymore?
No.
Huh. Why is that?
I don't know.
The actor admitted in a later interview that the quality of scripts sent to entice him had vastly dropped after the stunt. It took several critically acclaimed projects to put Phoenix's career back on track.
Thank you for letting me come on the show.
Yes, well, we've been dying to have you back a year and a half.
Belle Gibson.
Are you prepared to tell the truth today? The whole truth? No little
absolutely.
half truths, no gobbledygook. The truth.
No, I've been really transparent.
In 2013, Australian Belle Gibson was one of the hottest new wellness influencers on the market after launching her mobile app, The Whole Pantry. After releasing various cookbooks, life seemed to be going great for her. But then, Gibson told the world she had contracted several cancers, but was managing the progression with her healthy lifestyle.
Now, you've just admitted that you didn't say it was at your home and it wasn't with a real doctor because you thought people would be disappointed in you.
No, I believed he was a real doctor.
Yet in 2015, rumors emerged that Gibson was lying about having the disease and her donations to charity.
I've been openly conveying and speaking about what was my reality and what is my reality today.
And will you accept that your reality does not actually match reality?
With the pressure mounting, she spoke with the magazine The Australian Women's Weekly, where she admitted she'd been lying and blamed her behavior on her upbringing. This tanked her career in an instant. In 2017, Gibson was fined $410,000 for her deceptions.
Despite being given a 4-month deadline, you're still alive?
Yeah.
Was that an indicator to you that you didn't have brain cancer?
It wasn't an indicator.
Alex Pettyfer. If you're a blossoming actor in Hollywood, it's not a great idea to slam the city where you make a living. But that's what England's Alex Pettyfer did in 2011. After making his name in I Am Number 4 and Stormbreaker, the actor's career appeared to be going swell. Then, Pettyfer spoke to V-Man for an article. Within it, he slated Los Angeles in an expletive-filled interview. Among many, many insults, he called the city a, quote, insidious pool and socially, quote, disgusting, slated the women living there, and described an acting career like being in prison. Yikes. This, on top of a reputation as being difficult to work with, caused Pettyfer's career to stagnate as big-budget productions looked elsewhere for talent. Tom Cruise. 2005 was a dark mark in the career of Tom Cruise. Firstly, there was his bizarre behavior on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
I've never seen you like that! I've never seen that! I know!
Cruise followed that by publicly criticizing Brooke Shields for admitting she used antidepressants after developing postpartum depression. The actor then went on to the Today program to speak with Matt Lauer about his opinions, and it was rough.
I'm just living my life, and I'm doing the best that I can and doing it in a way that I feel is right.
An erratic Cruise doubled down on his anti-psychiatry views, calling it a, quote, pseudoscience.
And I know that psychiatry is is a pseudoscience.
His very patronizing approach did Cruise no favors as he combated Lauer's questions. With all the scandal, Paramount Pictures cut ties with the actor in 2006 after 14 years, but eventually that relationship recovered. Steven Spielberg also denounced Cruise's actions in 2005. However, the duo reconciled in 2023.
We've never seen you behave this way before.
I know.
Have you ever felt this way before?
Piers Morgan. By 2014, thanks to poor ratings, Piers Morgan's reign on CNN was ending. In his final days, he interviewed comedian Chelsea Handler, and she wrecked him. Handler slated his lack of attention and called him a, quote, terrible interviewer.
I mean, you can't even pay attention for 60 seconds. You're a terrible interviewer.
Well, you just weren't keeping my attention. That's
well,
more
but
an issue
that's
for you
not
than
my
me.
problem.
While Morgan attempted to save face by claiming the guest had to be interesting, Handler pointed out that it was his job to do that.
This is your show. You have to pay attention to the guests that you invited on your show.
If they're interesting enough.
Yeah, they listen, it doesn't matter how interesting I am. You signed up for this job.
Of course it does.
Well, maybe that's why your job is coming to an end.
With his US reputation in shambles, Morgan returned to the UK and joined Good Morning Britain.
This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family.
But after he went off on a rant about Meghan Markle disclosing her mental health struggles, he was called out by fellow presenter Alex Beresford, causing Morgan to walk off.
But yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
So, do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, but not my own
No.
stuff. See you later.
Later, he resigned from the show and has struggled for relevance since.
Absolutely diabolical behaviour.
Liam Neeson.
This interview had social media bursting at the seams with comments for and against the Irish actor.
While promoting one of his movies, Neeson opened up in an interview about the time one of his close friends was sexually assaulted by a black man.
To get rid of this, and I'm not racist. This was nearly 40 years ago, but because I was brought up in, maybe I'm rabbiting on, Rob, so forgive me. I was brought up in the north of Ireland and brought up in the Troubles.
He said that after finding out, he walked the streets looking for trouble, hoping to kill a black man, before realizing that what he was doing was wrong, and feeling ashamed of himself. Many branded him a racist, while others defended his honesty, including celebrities such as Trevor Noah and Whoopi Goldberg.
Because I believe that Liam Neeson deserves a medal, and I'll tell you why.
It may not have destroyed his career, but it certainly put a fork in the road of his likability.
John Mayer. At one point, John Mayer had the reputation of a quality musician who was seemingly going to reach legendary status one day. But then he spoke to Playboy magazine in 2010 and destroyed that possibility.
He is giving this interview to Playboy magazine. He wants to be provocative, and he tried a little too hard.
On top of being gross about his past relationships with Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Aniston,
sexually it was crazy.
Mayer compared, quote, Little John to white supremacist David Duke, and threw in racial slurs a couple of times. Yikes. While Mayer apologized on social media, in other interviews, and at gigs, he never reached those lofty heights again. None of his released singles have reached the top 25 on the US Billboard chart since 2010's Half of My Heart with Taylor Swift.
Oh, half of my heart's got a grip on the situation. Half of my heart takes time.
Chris Harrison. For 19 years, Chris Harrison was an American icon with his work on The Bachelor and its spin-off The Bachelorette, and many more. But then, in 2021, he was interviewed by Rachel Lindsay, a former Bachelorette, for Extra. This is when his career fell off. Harrison discussed the actions of alumni Rachel Kirkconnell after photos of her at college attending a plantation-themed party came out, and liked racial posts on social media.
Is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's
because
not
there's
a
a big
good
difference.
look ever.
It's hard to defend that, but Harrison did his best, even throwing in the term woke police and saying people shouldn't judge. Ew. The public backlash was massive. Lindsay quit the franchise due to her disgust at Harrison. He was suspended and later fired by The Bachelor.
Antebellum parties are not okay. Past, present, future.
Paula Deen.
I'm so happy to be showing y'all my new stoneware.
Specializing in Southern cooking, Paula Deen seemed like a nice and kind person during her cooking show, Paula's Best Dishes. But when a lawsuit came her way in 2013, her deposition threw that assumption in the bin when she stated she used racial slurs several times and had considered a plantation-themed wedding. Yikes. As the backlash grew, Deen was interviewed on the Today Show to discuss the controversy, and it was weird.
If there's anyone out there that has never said something that they wish they could take back.
Painting herself as a victim of slander, she stated she wouldn't have fired herself for the fallout. But most notable was the lack of sorry from Deen, except for referring to an apology video she'd made. Afterward, more companies cut ties with Deen as she fell into obscurity. Michael Jackson. Interviewed by Martin Bashir for a year and broadcast to the world in 2003, the documentary Living with Michael Jackson shocked viewers with a couple of massive revelations from the singer.
These we bought?
Yes.
And these?
Yes.
This table?
Yes.
These?
Firstly, Jackson spoke about the abuse he sustained at his father's hands when he grew up. But then, the Thriller performer stated that he had had sleepovers with children in his bedroom, but he emphasized that nothing untoward happened.
When Gavin was there, he talked about the fact that he shares your bedroom.
Yes.
Can you understand why people would worry about that?
Because they're ignorant.
The backlash was massive from the public. This brought to life the infamous trial of the People vs. Jackson in 2005. While Jackson was acquitted on all counts, the damage done to his reputation was permanent. On top of that, he faced bankruptcy from other lawsuits before he passed away in 2009.
Black people were called colored people because we come in all colors. From very white, as white as my hand, to very dark.
Lance Armstrong. Seen as a hero for facing cancer and becoming a dominant force in professional cycling, Lance Armstrong was beloved and one of the best athletes ever. But then, the rumors that he had had all his success on the back of doping began to emerge. In 2012, the United States Anti-Doping Agency stripped him of all his wins since 1998. While he denied it, Armstrong was then interviewed by Oprah Winfrey in 2013.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Here, the former legend told the truth and admitted his cheating, but denied allegations he had forced teammates to dope and bribed officials to hide his test results.
Did you ever blood dope or use blood transfusions to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Afterward, brands such as Nike canceled contracts with him, reportedly costing Armstrong millions of dollars.
Did you ever use any other banned substances like testosterone, cortisone, or human growth hormone?
Yes.
Billy Bush. While not an official interview per se, we're going to allow this Access Hollywood footage due to how notorious and career-ruining it became. It was actually captured before presenter Billy Bush and Donald Trump were able to cruise into a TV studio to do some filming. And while they were unaware that their microphones were on.
I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and she was married.
That's huge news there.
While on the bus, they riff about Trump's sexual escapades, which include groping women, and discuss how power can give you free reign to do whatever you want.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the.
We even hear them talking about how attractive they think Days of Our Lives actress Ariane Zucker is before meeting her when they get off the bus. Bush was suspended from his job on the Today Show following a ratings drop and subsequently resigned. He's since had to repeatedly defend himself in interviews.
The moment that is on that tape, I understand people's reaction. I agree. I also felt that way.
5 seconds of summer.
If you're a band, being interviewed by Rolling Stone magazine is a big, big deal. So much so that it can be easy to get carried away with trying to sound overtly rock and roll. And that's exactly what happened with the band 5 Seconds of Summer. In a 2015 interview, the band did everything from compare themselves to the Beatles to dismissing or insulting the American Music Awards, Justin Bieber, and their female fan base, also known as most of their fan base. They were criticized for their comments and for generally sounding like narcissistic prima donnas. It probably didn't help that they appeared naked on the front cover either.
Paula Abdul.
What do Idol fans have to look forward to this season, and what are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, is that what it is? I was wondering, what is that?
You know when you're under the influence, but you don't think you sound like you are?
Well, there's a good chance that Paula Abdul knows what that feels like, at least in hindsight. In this 2007 interview, she's promoting the latest series of American Idol. While she would later dismiss the idea as lies, many viewers wondered if she'd had a few drinks or partaken in another type of stimuli. Delayed responses, bouts of laughter, this one has it all.
You know what? They said, listen, any publicity is good publicity. You gotta learn to eat it up and embrace it and say, Seattle had the best delusional people.
The interview went viral, becoming an inescapable part of Abdul's career. 2 years later, she left American Idol as a judge due to a dispute over wages, and dropped out of the public eye for a while.
The Chainsmokers.
Next up, we have another misguided attempt at sounding hardcore in a magazine interview, this time courtesy of the musical duo The Chainsmokers, who let it all hang out with Billboard.
Everyone was making the same thing, and after a few years, it got really stale, and only a few people started breaking off from that and experimenting.
When asked about their manic musical romps, they were all too eager to brag about their wild frat boy image and penchant for sleeping with as many girls as possible, even though they both had girlfriends. The two were heavily criticized and briefly became the talk of the musical world for all the wrong reasons. But we shouldn't hate on them too much, right? Like they said, quote, "We're just frat bro dudes, you know what I mean? Lovin' ladies and stuff." That's an actual quote, word for word.
Prince Andrew.
Deemed a car crash by many, this interview ultimately resulted in Prince Andrew stepping down from public duties for the royal family.
Today, you've chosen to speak out for the first time. Why have you decided to talk now?
When BBC's Emily Maitlis questioned him about his close ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, the prince's answer raised many an eyebrow. For starters, Prince Andrew straight up denied ever meeting his accuser, Virginia Roberts.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
Despite photographic evidence to the contrary, there were other shocking answers littered throughout, like saying he didn't regret his friendship with Epstein as it presented him with useful opportunities. The interviewer is clearly unimpressed with his answers, much like pretty much everyone else who watched it.
He has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming, yes.
Unbecoming? He was a sex offender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite.
Katherine Heigl.
Heigl has long had a reputation for being difficult to work with, but a 2008 interview with Vanity Fair proved particularly damning when she criticized the movie Knocked Up, which she'd just starred in. She branded the movie, quote, a little sexist, and critiqued the way in which it portrays women, which frustrated people, considering that she'd decided to be in the movie. A year later, she starred in the movie The Ugly Truth, which was widely panned as misogynistic.
Who's this delightful creature?
I'm your producer.
I like a woman on top.
As a result of the entire episode, already hesitant directors were given yet another reason to be cautious about working with her.
I'm gonna be really honest right now, I'm not. I know I'm not. Yeah. I don't have to think about it. I'm not a rude person. I'm not an unkind or mean person.
Jussie Smollett.
There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back, and then it just stopped.
In 2019, the Empire actor stated he was a victim of a hate crime. Two men accosted Smollett with slurs before physically attacking him. Everyone was horrified at the details. But then, Smollett sat down with ABC's Robin Roberts for Good Morning America for an interview, and something seemed off. He refused to give law enforcement his phone. Days later, the apparent attackers came forward with accusations that Smollett had paid them to stage the attack. Turns out they were actually extras on Empire, a show in which Smollett starred. In 2022, the actor was sentenced to 150 days in prison and ordered to pay over $100,000 in restitution for the hoax.
We are coming back with breaking news here in the trial of Jussie Smollett. You know we've been covering it. The jury has reached a verdict, and it is, at least for most of the counts, guilty for Smollett.
Megan Fox.
As a general rule, it's probably not a good idea to compare the director you're working with to Hitler. But that's what Transformers star Megan Fox did in an interview with British magazine Wonderland. Talking about Michael Bay's conduct on set, Fox compared the director to the Nazi leader, which was soon all over the media.
Whoa, nice headers. You've got a high-rise double-pump carburetor. That's pretty impressive, Sam.
Double pump?
It ultimately resulted in her being fired from the Transformers franchise, but not by Bay. According to Bay, it was the franchise's executive producer, a certain Steven Spielberg, who insisted she be fired. She's since worked with Bay again on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films, which the latter produced, but Fox's notable roles have otherwise been few and far between since giving this interview.
Hi guys, this is April O'Neil from Channel 6 News, and I am here in beautiful New York City on the first day of spring, and you know what that means. It is time to shed that pesky winter weight.
Charlie Sheen.
This guy has said and done some seriously shocking and controversial things in his career, but the reason he's on today's list may surprise you. The interview in question is his 2015 appearance on the Today Show, where he announced that he was HIV positive.
They walked in the room and said, boom, here's what's going on. It's a hard 3 letters to absorb, you know? It's a turning point in one's life.
While some praised his bravery, many criticized the fact that it had taken him 4 years to go public with it, stating that it could have endangered his sexual partners.
Were these people that you had had sexual contact with and were claiming that you had transmitted the virus to them, or were these people who simply found out about your status and were threatening to tell the world?
People also took aim at Sheen's surprisingly calm demeanor as he told of his diagnosis and battle with people blackmailing him. For some, the interview humanized Sheen more than ever before. For others, it further solidified his reputation as being reckless, particularly with the lives of others.
Have you had unprotected sex on any occasion since your diagnosis?
Yes, but the 2 people that I did that with were under the care of my doctor, and they were completely warned ahead of time.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. R. Kelly.
Do you like teenage girls?
When you say teenage, how are we talking?
After years of rumors, a shocking video was released in 2002 showing the R&B singer abusing a minor. Even though he claimed it wasn't him, the case eventually went to court in 2008. Shockingly, Kelly was acquitted. Shortly after, he was interviewed by BET, and things quickly went south. While he tried to maintain he wasn't interested in anyone illegal, the damage was done. Another dire interview with Gayle King in 2019 after further allegations sealed Kelly's fate with his dramatic acting. After 2 trials, he was sentenced to a combined 31 years in jail.
Most of this 20-year sentence will be served at the same time, as Kelly is currently serving a 30-year sentence for the New York federal conviction for sex trafficking and racketeering.
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.